evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Health and Nutrition Call for Resilient Living. Tonight we have a very special call, and we're looking forward to the information and the presentation. We have with us our special guest, Dr. Robert Gibson, and also our founder and president, David URI LeBaron. So we're going to get started here. We've got some great information to share with you, and hope you'll just sit back, relax, and enjoy the presentation. If you have questions, be sure to send those over into the chat, and we will present them to our panel and let them answer those questions. So let's get started. First of all, Doc, are you on with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to unmute my mic there.
Great. Well, welcome, Dr. Gibson. We're certainly happy to have you with us tonight again, and look forward to the information you're going to be sharing with us. I'll go ahead and introduce Yuri as well. Yuri, are you on the call with us?
I am here. Thank you.
Great. Glad to have you as always, Yuri, as well. We're going to have a very excellent conversation tonight. I've actually been looking forward to this call because that's some cutting edge information that I'm looking forward to being out there and for people to get familiar with. So with that, I've kind of pulled up a title for this, but I think there's probably going to be some more depth to this than what I've got here. But basically, how to get 10 times faster and improved health results. That's kind of what a lot of folks want to know, is how they can improve their health results. And so we're looking forward to getting into that. And tonight, what you can expect on this web presentation, you're going to learn the value of probiotics and enzymes, and specifically how they impact your health. Understand fermentation and how it benefits our bodies. And hear the exciting news, which is I'm real excited about, the PhytoLive activation process. Dr. Gibson, can you just kind of go into the amazing health benefits of probiotics and exactly what they do for our bodies?
Well, this is one of these topics that to some degree has been around for a while, because people know that, things like yogurt has some bacteria in it that are beneficial for our body. But it really hasn't, the science of it hasn't come out to the public that much yet. And this system that we have, this whole ecosystem, is so amazing. It has its own name. It's called the microbiome. And if you actually count the number of bacteria inside our gut, it's more than the number of human cells that we actually have in our entire body. So in that regard, I mean, this is an essential part of how we function in every aspect of our body. It's not just some little small benefit that we might get. It's literally a symbiotic relationship. It's how our body functions. We have to have these bacteria just to stay alive and to process our food. It's part of our immune system. And that's one that I really first got on 2 years ago, was the fact that these bacteria, a lot of them are our own defense system. They are really that first line of defense when we're eating food that may have other harmful bacteria on it. These beneficial ones can help fight that off and protect us. Other bacteria are responsible for breaking down the food that we eat and actually making that food usable for us. They break it down into the components that the cells can actually use. Others will recombine those little pieces, the bits of nutrients, back together to form new vitamins and enzymes that are even more beneficial for us. So in just that nutshell way, we couldn't live without these bacteria.
So where exactly are we getting these bacteria?
Well, when we're first born, just coming out of the birth canal, that's where we first get seeded or populated with bacteria through that birth process. And throughout exposure in our life, we get them. A lot of them are soil-based organisms that we get when we're a kid playing in the dirt, when we're eating different vegetables. We get exposed to these things. And a lot of them are just perfectly designed to live within the human host. And so the ones that are supposed to be there naturally thrive inside of us.
Awesome. Well, can you kind of go into, I know you've touched on it earlier, and of course we have several videos that are up about that, and it seems that more and more folks are now understanding the benefits, or at least investigating the benefits of probiotics and enzymes. Used to, I didn't hear a lot about it, but now you're hearing more and more about it. but can you kind of touch on some of the real key health benefits that people can expect from probiotics?
Well, one that's I think that's more timely with the modern lifestyle, modern healthcare system is that quite often people will be prescribed antibiotics from their doctor, and what they don't realize is these antibiotics are also wiping out a lot of these beneficial bacteria that they have, and it makes them more likely to have a secondary infection, for example, or other problems. And so it's essential that if you've ever had an antibiotic, that you need to replace these bacteria in your gut, because I see a lot of people developing some pretty serious health conditions because they don't have the bacteria. They can't digest their food properly. So they'll develop all sorts of different inflammatory bowel disorders because they don't have the proper gut bacteria. They become malnourished even when they have good sources of food because they can't properly break down and digest the foods that they're eating. So they can't even get the value out of the food that they have. And so simple things like that, we need to keep that population of bacteria there so that the food that we're eating can actually benefit us the way that it's supposed to. And that's probably, I guess, one that I think is really timely now, just because of the widespread antibiotic use. Is you always need to replenish that. And there's so many the junk foods and garbage foods out there that these chemicals in the foods are also destroying our helpful bacteria. And and again, it just leads right down the line in every case to decreased absorption of nutrients, decreased value out of our food and our vitamin supplements. And so we need these bacteria just to get the value out of our food and to thrive and be healthy.
This is Yuri. In addition to that, Dr. Gibson, a lot of us have heard the statement, I know, that the health of our entire system begins in our gut. What are some of the many health challenges and issues out there that people can end up facing when the microorganisms, probiotics in their stomach not only get depleted, but get severely imbalanced between beneficial microorganisms versus not so beneficial microorganisms within our system?
Well, big picture, it affects everything. When we look at some specific things, one that I see real common is weight gain. Just unnecessary weight gain, in that the sugars are absorbing easily through that gut and through all the harmful bacteria, and they're causing yeast overgrowth, so candida problems, and so they're getting all that extra sugars and carbohydrates into the body, but not the complex nutrition, and so they start storing weight, but they're always hungry. They can't seem to get those cravings satisfied because they're not getting the more complex nutrition out of it. So that's one that I see common. And then if you keep pushing that farther and farther, where you're not fixing that gut issue, next leads to these some very severe digestive issues, and we start having a lot of problems with things like Crohn's disease and diverticulitis, these inflammatory bowel diseases, where everything from chronic diarrhea to chronic constipation to just gas and bloating and not being able to eat certain foods. I mean, that's becoming out of control epidemic. I see that in so many patients, and I could go on and on, but that's a big one that I see every day.
And it can be significant. Like you mentioned, that starts with stuff directly in the gut, and then it leads to immune function, brain function, as the results of the imbalances in the stomach and gut spread throughout the rest of the chemistry of the body.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it completely destroys the normal function of the immune system. And if you're not getting the nutrients that your brain desperately need just to function normally and to be able to think and calculate and remember things, if you're not getting those nutrients to make those neurotransmitters, again, brain function will start to decrease. Not to mention the harmful bacteria that then start to overpopulate in the gut. These harmful bacteria are going to put out toxins, and these toxins are just like it sounds like, they're poison to your body, and they'll interfere with nerve function, they'll interfere with immune function. And so it's a double whammy when you don't take care of your gut, and it really can destroy every single aspect of health.
And I feel it's critical for people to really grasp how significant the microorganisms and enzymes can play with on our health, so that they can start, connecting with what's happening in the health and lifestyles that continues to decline with the increase of disease and things that's going on, and the health challenges, because it's one more area that has a significant impact on how we experience health each and every day.
It's like cutting out part of your body. If you're removing part of your organs that you need to function, removing some of your muscles and joints, you start cutting off your fingers. I mean, these bacteria are every bit as essential to your life as other organs are in your body, and because they depend on the byproducts, the things that these little bacteria are creating, and they are no more foreign than any of our brain cells or liver cells are in our body. They're something that we simply have to function. It's that important.
So knowing how important that it can truly be for the health and what we experience every day, go back again to what are good sources to get, because we hear more and more about probiotics that in the marketplace and what's happening, and whether it's 3 strains or 10 strains,
Uh-huh.
And what's the value of identified probiotics, as well as microorganisms in general that come from natural foods.
Well, a lot of people, they think, well, hey, I eat yogurt. I'm getting my probiotics there, right? Well, unfortunately, a lot of the products that are sold as yogurt are really nothing more than milk pudding. They've already cooked them and killed any bacteria that were there, and even the ones that were there, a lot of times there's not a wide variety of different types, strains of bacteria, and the quantity isn't really there. And so we generally need something much more potent than just something you might find at the grocery store off the shelf, but where we see the greatest concentration, variety, and benefit to the body is really within these fermented veggies. When we have the fermented vegetables with the soil-based organisms, we're going to have a much more broad spectrum of bacteria, so a lot of different variety, and the numbers, the population there is just going to be dramatically different than what you're getting out of even a good yogurt. And that's where I really have my favorites, is when it's the fermented veggies.
Absolutely. And some of the research and stuff that I've done, as I've looked out there, fermentation of foods is something that's been used for thousands of years, and has been used because it's been a form of preserving foods to stabilize and eliminate or reduce the foods breaking down. But also, I've noticed that there's a lot of information talking about the increased value nutritionally of these products, along with the natural microorganisms and lactic acid. They talk about increasing content and amount of some vitamins in the process. But one of the big things that I've connected with is the increased bioavailability of active compounds within fruits and vegetables when it goes through this process. And I heard some time back about the value difference of raw cabbage versus fermented cabbage when it came to some type of cancer, because the compounded in cabbage was so much more bioavailable and beneficial in the fermented versus the raw. Can you
Mhm.
shed some additional light on that area?
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, I've done a lot of my work over in Asia, and so I've always been a fan of things like the kimchi and the Japanese pickles and different fermented veggies, and they've had that tradition that these were beneficial for health, not just for the storage, like you say. And they figured out, even in some of these cultures a long time ago, before they had the science to know why, that they would heal from a lot of different diseases when they would eat these fermented veggies. And one of the things that we see with like a raw cabbage sometimes versus a fermented, same thing with broccoli and some of these other things, is that it's almost like having a gift, but it's in a package that you can see through, but you can't get to the contents inside. A lot of those valuable nutrients are locked in there, but they simply are not in a form that the body can use. And so we have certain enzymes, the bacteria process, and certain different cellular processes these bacteria go through that actually take those little nutrients inside the cabbage, and they break it down and they put it in the exact form that will now kill a cancer cell, or that will bind to a toxin and help the body then bind to it and remove it from the body. And so that's the amazing thing with these bacteria, is that they are designed to do exactly what we want them to do. They're our servants, our little helpers, and they will unlock all of this potential value within the plants. Broccoli is a great one with the sulforaphane, and the enzyme will then turn that into a potent anti-cancer fighter and detoxifier. Cabbage the same way; it has some of those same properties that the broccoli does, and yeah, bacteria are the key to unlock it.
And that's where what we're looking at within our phytolive activation process becomes very valuable in a significant way, even different than what a lot of people do when they're doing their fermentation at home, where they're chopping up some of the vegetables, putting them in a jar, and fermenting it for 2-3 weeks, whatever time frame they're doing. They're creating some benefit, but as you look at what it is that we do in freeing those compounds up that much more, how much more bioavailable not only it makes what's within there, but whatever the powder that we make is put with increases the absorption because of those microorganisms and lactic acid that's there.
Well, and I think the home fermentation's great. I wish everybody would do it. It's just not practical for most people. They just don't have the drive or the will to do some of that. And even then, I have a lot of patients that even if they did have the time and ability to do that, they just simply don't like some of the taste of some of those, because they don't have a really broad palate that way. And the resilient products give them an opportunity to get a quantity in of these probiotics through the fermented veggies that they would never get in reality. They just would never eat that much, even if they had it. And
absolutely.
so an uneaten fermented veggie does you no good. And if it puts you in a way, ability to get a large quantity, I mean, that's the best thing about the resilient products.
Absolutely, and I feel the key, as you're referencing to there, is getting something in the body that truly delivers the nutritive values in a manner that provides benefit beyond what it is that people are getting. And that's where we look at the combination that we're providing here with our Phytolive dehydration. Raw organic fruits and vegetables that are known to have higher nutrient density, having these values there, and then taking this blend and running it through our Phytolive activation, which is a probiotic fermentation process, where then we're just freeing those compounds up, drying that again through our Phytolive dehydration process. So we're drying it in a couple of minutes, keeping that product temperature at or below 106 degrees Fahrenheit. We're literally freeing up and activating these compounds, combined with the rest of the whole blend of ingredients in our premium feast, to truly not only make available, but in a form that the body can maximize the utilization, absorption, and truly deliver nutrition at a level throughout the human system beyond anything else that's being done. And this is where we talk about being able to have people literally experience the results and benefits of this nutrition up to 10 times faster because of the combination of what we're delivering in this package.
And it makes it so easy. As I've talked about this before. I have a garden. I grow a lot of my own little organic veggies. I've got my chickens. I do a lot of this stuff. But even on my best day with my best harvest, I'm not going to be able to get the complexity, the different varieties of fruits and veggies in one bowl like I can in the feast. It's just, I can't produce that type of variety. A lot of the plants just don't grow where I live and that sort of thing. I mean, and so, yeah, of course you want to try to eat the best diet you can, but there's just an impossibility for most people to get the variety and complexity of nutrition that's supplying. And then you just take it up a whole nother level when you have that percentage that's fermented to unlock some of the additional hidden nutrients that are there.
It's significant. Just as you mentioned, people, that spend the time to get the fresh vegetables, uh, and they do that process, even if they're committed to it. Oftentimes they're saying, okay, I'm going to eat a carrot, and so they start eating the carrot. How much are they actually chewing that carrot or that broccoli, and breaking that down to the level of what we're talking about, so it truly becomes available for the body to utilize. And again, as you mentioned earlier, if their microorganisms are not balanced in their system, it doesn't
Mhm.
allow them to even utilize what they just ate. And this is where, utilizing our probiotic fermentation process, we truly activate the rest of the nutrients that are there, so they become very, very absorbable to be utilized while they're balancing out microorganisms throughout the gut.
Well, and even if they do chew that one carrot, that's one out of 50 plus veggies that you're going to get in the whole mix. That's kind of my point, is that, even your best efforts are going to fall, far short of the nutritional value of getting that with a good diet. The feast just, it becomes a phenomenal task if you even tried to compete with it, and you just couldn't. It wouldn't be, you couldn't get in the volume, you couldn't get in the variety. It's an amazing thing, really.
Absolutely, because we look at what we have, again, within Premium Feast, and look at the nutrient density of there. That's easily supports the statement when we say the nutritional value at a single serving of Premium Feast is 10 plus servings worth of fruits, vegetables, and whole foods. Now look at how much we've amplified that by utilizing our Phytolive activation and putting in the entire blend of of our ingredients that's gone through the probiotic fermentation that activates it that much more. I'm just excited about the value that this truly delivers to people, like you're talking about. Either they don't have the time, convenience factor, taste factor, whatever it is, to get this level of nutrients, has the opportunity to experience it with now what we have within the Resilient Living Premium Feast product that's amped up with our Phytolive activation.
Yeah, it's going to provide people with benefits that it's really hard to even explain it to people until they've experienced it. And a lot of people, patients will come in, I explain it to them, but they really, a lot of times, just don't quite grasp what I'm saying until they've tried it for themselves and they feel the difference. And everybody always does. They feel better. They know that their body's working better. And sometimes they can't even put words to describe it at first. They just know that they feel different and more alive, and they have more energy, and just things, their body starts to work in a way that they haven't experienced in years sometimes.
And that's the key point that you're talking about there, is actually experiencing the difference from themselves. And it's one of the key reasons why, as people get onto Premium Feast, that they continue the product, because they notice that the difference that it's making in their life every single day. It's giving them the nutritional tools, and now in an amplified form with the Phytolive activation processing, so that they're able to support and build their health as they continue to do this. It's we talk, or we've all heard about, the value of prevention, compared to trying to find something to cure after the fact, or to something to deal with deficiencies after the fact. And this is something that within Premium Feast, that people can have the confidence in what it's doing and know firsthand by the results, not just in 30 days or 60 days, but literally in a few days, start seeing and experiencing the results that this level of nutrition can provide to the system. And for those that are online, Joe's connected and brought up a chart here to assist in illustrating what it is that we're talking about. On this chart, for those that may be on the phone, shows the value of a typical multivitamin supplement that's very isolated, very little absorption and value. The body struggles to utilize it, and what it does utilize, it utilizes at the expense of what it robs from within to make use of what comes in that multivitamin. And then you see that there's an increase of that typical multivitamin when it's enhanced by the addition of whole food powders with it. And then you see a further increase by just getting a typical whole food supplement. And then you get further increase by getting a raw whole food supplement, because it has not been processed with temperatures and things that are depleting those natural nutrients, the natural enzymes, the natural microorganisms that we're talking about here. And then we further see increased benefit when we get raw organic whole food, because the increased nutrient density that is provided in organic versus non-organic produce. And then we take it and expand that out significantly in terms of the value when we're taking raw organic whole foods and running them through our process with phytolife dehydration and phytolife activation. Now we're taking that to a whole new level that just delivers those nutrients way beyond any other form of product out there. So I trust that, as people, those that are listening here, that they're connecting with how significant the delivery and absorption of necessary nutrients can be to our bodies, the difference that microorganisms and probiotics play in sustaining absorption, sustaining and rebuilding health and vitality within the not only the gut, but how that then in turn affects and spreads throughout the entire system.
Yeah, the amount of nutrients that you're going to absorb with this is so dramatic. It really, another way to look at it too is just the cost effectiveness. You pay money for good food, you pay money for good vitamins, and if your bacteria aren't at a healthy population level, you're not going to get what you paid for. And so a lot of people are wasting a lot of money, not because they're even buying something that's garbage. It's just simply because their body can't utilize everything that they've paid for and then put into their body.
It's significant because, again, we look at the health challenges that continue to grow that we face, where the cost of healthcare is going, and really be able to relate to what you're talking about there, being able to get, absorb, and utilize nutrition that's necessary for our body to be able to defend not only against the daily stuff, but to maintain and sustain itself as it goes through, whether it's aging, stresses, toxins. There's nothing that can strengthen the body more than getting good, proper, wholesome, quality nutrition, and this delivers in a way beyond anything else.
And we're living in an ever-changing world where the overuse of antibiotics has created a lot of these immune or antibiotic resistant strains like the MRSA and C. diff and some of these out there. And really, we see people defenseless because they don't even have good antibiotics to fight those off. Yet your body can do a wonderful job of that. You just got to keep it healthy. And this is one of those keys to keeping that immune system bulletproof and to keeping it strong, is to give it everything it needs in abundance so that it can fight it off. And then it couples that with these healthy bacteria. So you're feeding also these bacteria that are your little army there that help protect you from different viruses and resistant strains of bacteria, because they already have a built-in protective mechanism to fight off the competition. And so we want to feed them these nutrients that are going to promote these bacteria too. And so not only are you getting the good bacteria with the phytolive activation, but you're feeding these bacteria what they need to thrive and keep us healthy and safe at the same time.
Absolutely, and you hit on a key point there. Oftentimes people look at what they call a prebiotic, which are things that'll feed the probiotics and natural microorganisms within our system. And you look at what it is that provides that base. Whole foods is one of the best things to support the natural microorganism and growth. And again, it's part of the package that we provide here, ingredients that support not only with the additional enzymes and probiotics and microorganisms, but the natural food to sustain and support the healthy microorganisms within our system.
Yeah, the junk food is just simply not going to feed those bacteria the way you want. It's going to harm most of them, in fact.
Yeah, absolutely. The sugars and processed stuff hugely inhibits the beneficial bacteria, giving the bad bacteria an upper hand to reduce the good and create that imbalance that leads to the health challenges that we've been talking about.
Definitely.
Hey, Yuri, I'm back online. I don't know if you can hear me okay. My bandwidth is having some challenges, but I wanted to ask a question. You may have already touched on this. The diversity of the ingredients that are within the premium feast. I've seen a lot of things recently with fermentation, but it seems they're just sticking with one type of food group. Can you kind of touch on the diversity of the ingredients within the premium feast and how that's is benefiting us?
Absolutely, because what we've done with Premium Feast is we've taken all the ingredients in there minus the flavor and the sweetener and the enzymes and probiotics themselves. So we've taken all the fruits, the vegetables, the seeds, and everything there, and the entire blend of all those ingredients that are in there, and we've taken that blend and we've ran it through our probiotic fermentation process. So that we have the full complex of all the ingredients in there that have gone through that, so that it frees up the compounds and the microorganisms relative to those ingredients, so it creates more value and effectiveness in the premium feast blend.
So really, all of the benefits of premium feast were actually enhanced considerably.
Absolutely, significantly, because of what it does, not only with the blend that goes through the probiotic fermentation and freeing up all those compounds, creating that diverse array of microorganisms, but when you take that and put it back into the rest of the blend of all the ingredients as well in the finished product, is providing that enhancement to increase the usability and absorption of what we already have in a powerful whole food product premium feast, just amplifies it that much more.
Yes. And I haven't noticed much of a taste difference at all. I mean, can you touch on that? Is there any taste difference?
Like you say, with the taste, there's nothing there that I've really noticed. If it is, it's very slight, and that's where it's mixed in a manner to provide the value of what it does, but again, keep the product where it's not only very, very active, very, very beneficial, but easy to take because it tastes good.
Excellent. Well, I apologize for missing some of this presentation. I'm so glad we have it recorded so that I can go back and of course listen to it. And I'm grateful for that recording and for the presentation tonight. Doctor, do you have anything else that you'd like to share on this?
I just want to really bring home the fact that that this isn't something that people should look at as an optional thing. This is something that's absolutely essential for health, to get that good population of gut bacteria. It's not just a nice little octane boost to the feast, but something that they're really not getting in your typical food out there. And most people just don't have access to these type of good mix of probiotics, and it's absolutely essential for health. And one way or another, it needs to be in there if you want to really thrive and you really want to be a healthy person.
Wow, that's a great statement. Thank you. Yuri, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to make?
Just that I'm again grateful for the opportunity to share what I feel are not just slightly better in what they provide, but significantly increased in delivering value to make a difference in our life. And that's the focus and the commitment that we put into the products that we create, so that we're actually making the level of difference that is necessary for people to shift into experiencing health the way it can be experienced.
Absolutely. Well, I say it just about every week, Yuri. We're so grateful for your brilliance and expertise in formulating these products. Premium Feast is just a product that my family can't do without. We love it. It just provides so much benefit. We feel the results, and it's just amazing. And now that the PhytoLive activation process is going, we're getting better results and more benefits. So we're thankful to you and for what you've done in putting this together. Dr. Gibson, thank you also for sharing tonight. I tell you,
My pleasure.
We get such great information on these calls, and I love it because I get to go back through and get them ready to go out on the internet, and I get to just relive it again, and it's just so educational and informative and helpful. So, thank you. And for all of our guests on the call tonight, thank you for being with us. We will be putting this up in our knowledge base, so be sure to invite friends and share this information. It is important, and we want to get that out to as many people as possible. So we appreciate your help in sharing that. And thank you for being with us. We look forward to our next upcoming call in a couple of weeks. You'll get notices on those, so be sure to keep your emails opened, and we look forward to having you on the calls. So again, this is Joe Miller. Thank you for being with us. Doc, thank you. Yuri, thank you. And for everyone, have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.